Welcome back to the garage, guys. This is the last installment on this LTZ 250. I got all the parts in. Before we go over the parts, I just want to show you guys a little project that I was doing the last few days. Here it is, my son's car. He slid on an icy road and went down into a sort of like a gully on the side or a drainage ditch on the side, and he jacked up the bottom of the bumper cover really good. So I ordered a new bumper cover online. I just want to show you guys this, and they come pre-painted. And as you can see, the paint match is perfect. The fitment's perfect. It's not not a Dodge bumper cover aftermarket, but came out really, really good. It's not fully assembled yet. This top piece right on here still has to be put in. There's a piece I got to put in here, and there's a piece I have to put on here. And those pieces are right here. This is the top piece. Oh, I also need to put the bezels in for the lower fog lamps, and this is the piece that goes in the middle. They were all rock chipped up and everything, and excuse me, look terrible. So I painted them, used sandable primer, sanded them down a little bit. They'll be good to go. Same thing with the bezels. You can see here there was some paint chipping, and I fixed those. So what I did was I went to the auto parts store, or the auto body supply house, and I bought a can of this colored matched paint. And as you can see there, it's a PX8, which is the color for that car. Excuse me. This is a single-use can. You only have 2 hours to use the paint. It's pretty cool though. It's $50 for this can, but that's a lot cheaper than having a body shop do it. So I guess you take this red nozzle and you push it down on that nipple on the bottom there, and it activates the aerosol in the can, and then you can use it. But the can's only good for 2 hours. So they tell you, once you push this thing in there, make sure you're ready and you use all the paint. But anyways, that's what I did at the end of last week. And if it's something you guys want to see on the channel, let me know in the comments below. I haven't been posting a lot of car stuff because it doesn't seem like you guys want to see it. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, but I don't know. It would have been a pretty cool video to show you guys how to do a bumper cover replacement. Anyway, I'll show you what it looked like before right here. And this is the finished result. I just got to put those other pieces on and we're good to go. Anyways, let's get back to the ATV. All right, guys, let's go over the part set I got in the mail. And this is the first part here. And this is that sleeve. I hope you guys can see that. Let's open it up. This is the sleeve that goes inside the pinion. And you can see there how nice the splines are in that bad boy. All right, that's that one. And then in here, I'm assuming this is the pinion, and it is. And this is $100. It is aftermarket. It's not a actual Suzuki part. I think it was $200 for the pinion from Suzuki. It was like $100 more. So let's see how this stuff fits together. And I'm pretty sure that this is the end that goes in there. Nope, this end goes in there. And it is really a tight fit. It's a pretty tight fit. Might need to do a little bit of filing on this to get it to go in, but that's how it goes. And then this end goes on here, and it slides on there pretty tight too. That's what you want. You want it tight. All right, we're good to go. Let's start assembling and getting this thing finished. Also, I picked up a new seat cover. I don't know if I'm gonna actually video putting that on, but I did get a new seat cover. All right, I think the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna install a pinion. So I wanna get the bearing that goes down inside of there. It's going in. It's all the way in. Looks good. So for this one here, I'm gonna heat it so it slides on. Now it is pre-lubed, and the lube is all falling out of it, but I'm probably gonna have to tap that down a little bit. Maybe not. There we go. Fell right in. Didn't take much heat at all. All right, that's good. Now, down inside of here, we have this spacer for the Baron. That goes in first. That's a shim. And then this should just slide right in. It shouldn't be a press fit. There we go. And that feels really, really good. Next is this. Let me clean it a second. Get some of the stuff out of the threads. Next, this goes in. All right, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go in the vise. I'm gonna hold the housing in the vise, and I'm just gonna put a little pipe on here, and I'm gonna give this a quick snug. All right, now that I snugged it up, you can see that it really won't go any tighter, but you can see that the original pinch point for where they bean that over to keep it locked is exactly where it was before, and the pinion spins very nice. There's no play in it. Beautiful. All right, and it's beamed over. So we're good to go there. All right, now we got this flange here, and what this does is it covers this and protects it, but it has to be pressed onto this. So what I need to do is I need to go over to my vise, and I need to hammer this into this until this surface right here is flush with the top of this. All right, guys, it's pressed on there now. Not going to come off. Basically all I did was I put it over the opening of the vise, resting it on here, and I just tapped in with a 2-pound hammer. Didn't take much. Now it's in there. All right, I'm going to put a little oil on it, press it in. Just tap it in. I'm not hitting it real hard, just tapping it. Put a little red and tacky in there. Not a lot, just enough to keep it from rusting. There's no orientation to this, it just goes on the splines. That's pretty much it. All right, it's bottomed out. You can see, turns nice. All right, next, now that the pinion's all done, we have the needle bearing that has to go in here. I'm gonna lightly heat this up because I did put a seal in here and I don't want the seal to melt. That should be good enough. Now, I don't like how these bearings are all flopping all over the place, and the axle rides in there, so I think I'm gonna put the axle in and then tap it in off camera on the floor there, because I don't want this to any of these needles to fall out. Okay, as you guys can see there, that bearing's in there now. It's fully seated. Now I can put the seal in. All right, it's time to put the bearing in this side. This one we're going to heat up. and then drop it in. Hopefully drop it in. We'll see. Let's see if it drops in. Oh yeah, she's gonna go in. It's already cooling, unfortunately. Don't take much to cool off the aluminum, but we'll get it in. I'll make sure I pound on the outside. All right, now we gotta put the snap ring in. All the way in. All right, that's finished. All right, now we got to do 2 more bearings. I got a bigger bearing in here, a smaller bearing in here, but I also have a seal in here. The bearing fell right in. I just hope it doesn't get too hot because there is plastic on that bearing and it is sweating. So I hope to cool this thing off pretty quick. I'm gonna go put it in the freezer. All right, guys, I got the ring gear. Not really a ring gear. It's more of a, I don't know, we'll call it a ring gear. Anyways, I got this off the shaft. I cleaned up inside here. And now what we have to do is put the last bearing in, which is the bearing that goes inside of here. Here we go. We're just gonna tap it in. And I did put the seal down inside there. I don't know if you guys saw it. Okay, bearing's in. You can see the seal down inside of there. So we're good to go. We got to put the seal in here, and that's this seal here. This is the last seal, and I'm going to put a little bit of oil on this one, like I always do, just to help it go in a little easier. And then we're just going to tap it in. Sometimes you can push them in. And that one there I was able to push in. Good. She's in. All right, guys, as you can see, I cleaned the axle up, wire wheeled it, wiped it down with WD-40. That's all ready to go. So I guess at this point here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start assembling. So the first thing that's gotta go in is the ring gear, and it's gotta go up against the pinion. And we have 2 shims that go in. The first shim goes here, and then this slides in. What I'm going to do though is I want to oil this up really good because it's got to go through the seal, and I don't want it to tear. So I'm going to push that through right now. Let's make sure that that shim is sitting where it's supposed to be, because obviously it fell out. And the seal looks good. The next one is we got another shim here, and it goes on this side. So we need an O-ring on this guy here. So let's put this O-ring back. All right, that O-ring's in. And I think I want to grease it a little bit. Put some grease on that O-ring. All right, the O-ring's greased, as you guys can see. And I want to put some oil on this inner seal here. These 2 bosses are not in line with each other, and I just wanted to make sure that it's still lined up, and it does. So I'm going to get some Loctite, and we're going to drive those babies home. All right, we're going to Loctite them up. We're going to snug them all up and then torque them. All right, we got a problem here. The pinion's not turning. Yeah, it's freer. So that tells me that I'm gonna have to remove the shim on this side. I'd rather have it a little bit loose than too tight. Too tight's just gonna wear everything out. No. All right. Because I want to leave the shim between these two because I don't want extra tension on the pinion. So that shim, this shim is gonna stay there. All right, let's see. Spinning now. All right, I think what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put the O-ring on this guy because I want to make sure that everything goes where it should. All right, that's the O-ring for the brake. The brake is all set. I am going to put this over at the four-wheeler. All right, now we need to put this O-ring in here. I really want to put some grease down inside these splines. Just get it in there really good. And now we got to slide it through. All right, now we got the axle tube going in. And I think what I really want to do here is I want to try to tip this up a little bit, but I don't know if I can do it and show you. What I want to do is, inside of here, I'm going to pack it full of this red grease. There's plenty of grease in there. All right, let's put the axle tube on now. Let's bring this in. I don't feel as though these need to have Loctite on. That should do it. All right, guys, the axle is fully assembled. What I didn't show you off camera was I had the axle tube on 180 degrees out, so I had to go back over to the bench and just take the bolts out, and I could just rotate it at 180, put the bolts back in. We should be good to go now. Thought I had the right orientation, but clearly I did not. All right, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna slide the drive shaft in. And I really packed that full of grease. The seal is gone, but not worried about it. For this, it'll be fine. All right, now you're gonna bring it up and in and try to get that universal joint to seat. Stop bolt. All right, we got all these in. They just obviously just loose to hold it. Now I'm gonna start these. And these are nut and bolt. And I can't remember if the nut was on this side or whatever. I think I'm gonna put the nut on the inside. Whether it was or not, I don't think it matters. It's just that there's a problem with it later. Might be easy to get off that way. Get the air gun out. Ah, air gun. I'm gonna get my my big impact gun out, and I'm gonna drive all these home and come back when I'm done. All right, now before I put the brake assembly on, I wanna fill this full of red and tacky, just so water doesn't get down inside. And this isn't really, it's not gonna hurt anything to do it. Just a protective measure. Get the other side. I wanna coat this O-ring. And I'm gonna put some in side of here as well. Going on like this. Spin you guys around so you can see. Now all I have to do is just install the bolts that go on here. Alright guys, so I got this, I don't know what to call it, a skid plate or a rock guard or something that goes on here. That bolted to the back side of this flange underneath here. 2 bolts. And now what I'm going to do is I am going to put the breather back on, which goes right here. Let's install the brake shoes. And the brake shoes look brand new. And we got spring. The spring just popped out and put the spring back in. These brake shoes look brand new. So somebody just replaced them. And That's a good thing for me, because I don't have to. There we go. All right, those are in. All right. Now the drum goes back on. I painted this up real nice to make it look good. And this has to go on the O-ring. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna grease the O-ring, put this on, and the only thing I have left to do is to put the hubs on, and that's about it. So let me get to it, and I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, I cleaned that up with sandpaper, and now all you have to do is just slide it in. Get it past the seal, and we're good to go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the nut on here, because this axle actually needs to pull forward. It needs to pull this way against the bearing in there. So as you can see, I'm tightening this by hand. Let me see if you guys can really get in there and see this. Anyway, as I'm tightening this by hand, you can see that the axle is actually going to be coming out. Let me get the socket on that if I can. That's it right there. And you can see how it's sunk in there. It's not proud. So I'm going to keep cranking this until I get it snug, and it should pull the axle to where it needs to be. And you can see now it's actually sticking out. And this side here is now set. It was sticking out probably 1/4 of an inch on this side before, and now it's where it needs to be. So it's a little bit of a weird setup on these things, how the axle is actually set in here. Most of your sport quads, they have a lock nut that you put preload on the bearings, but this one here is different because it's a differential. So now that I have the axle where it is, I want to spin this, and it is pretty smooth. It's really smooth, actually. I'll bring you up and show you the differential. You guys can see the diff. So it's spinning pretty good. Not bad at all. All right, I'm going to mount the hubs. I guess put the tires on and adjust the rear brake. All right, guys, the axle's all in. Everything's done. Everything looks good. You can see there, new U-joint. Everything looks perfect. The wheels are in. We're in good shape. So the only thing I have to do now is I got to go to the auto parts store and get some gear oil. And it says use either 80 weight or 90 weight. And you fill it in here until it starts to come out here. And once it starts coming out here, you know you're full. And then you just stop and you put the 2 caps back on and you're done. I'm going to go grab that. I'll do it off camera. Just giving you guys an idea of what's left. So I'm going to end the video here. And that's just basically, I'll have 2 videos on how to do the rear end on one of these. It was a lot of work. Honestly, I think I'm going to stay away from anything with a differential rear end as far as sports quads go, because they get pretty beat, and I just don't want to deal with it again. It was just too much work. It's not worth it. I mean, I literally probably have, I don't know, between my time and labor, I got as much into this rear end as I paid for this thing. It's just not worth it. So in the future, I'm going to stay away from these, but whoever buys this off me is going to get a really nice machine, because it's all the bearings are done front and rear. So they're going to get a nice machine. So when I come back, I'm going to finish up everything else. Going to put the plastics on, clean it. I got a seat cover to throw on, and we'll start it up, take it for a ride. I got some electrical to fix. I got to fix that ground wire right there. It's broken for the battery. Just button up a few things, neaten it up. Need to put a vent tube on the tank. But other than that, it's pretty much done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end the video here, and I am going to post a video halfway through the week, a midweek video of this being finished up, and I'm going to give you a sneak peek in the next project as well. With that being said, I want to thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, share, comment below. Let me know what you guys think of this thing. Do you think it was worth it? Do you think it wasn't worth it? Also, comment on whether you guys want to see more car content, you know, automobile, truck content on the channel or not. Let me know all that stuff in the comment section, because I'd like to give you guys, you know, stuff to watch that you really want to watch. And I guess that's it for now. I'll see you guys midweek when I finish this thing up.